Good morning. Happy Easter. And happy Passover. Yeah. And happy spring equinox. Yeah. And also happy second full moon. We had a blue moon just yesterday, right? Yeah. Well, whatever makes you happy, I greet you with that. Because this is certainly a season of renewal and liberation and growth. And so maybe my Easter prayer is, may we all be renewed and liberated, and may we grow in the awareness of what is sacred and holy about life. That would be a good place to start. As you heard from Reverend Joyce, we are celebrating 100 years of our teaching, The Science of Mind. And this month, yes, I know it is worth applauding. That's quite a... We're relatively young when it comes to spiritual movements, but wonderful. We made it a whole year, 100 years. And this month our theme is where humanity and divinity meet. We've been exploring that. We've been talking about what does it mean to live a spiritual life. We've been exploring that. What is our spiritual self? What does that mean? Because, I might know who I am in the world. I might know that, I'm a person, or I'm a mother, or I'm a father, or I'm a sibling. I might know that. Or I might know what my talent is and my role and my achievement. I'm a minister, I'm a musician, I'm a carpenter, I'm a student. I also might know something about my feelings in this world, and my reactions and my losses and my joys, I know when I'm in love, I'm happy. And when I'm not in love, I'm not happy. I might know that. And yet all of these labels, all of these things change, just like the seasons, just like the moons. And the spiritual self, though, is that part of us that does not change. Even when everything else around us does change. Oh, and they change. Though things change, and they will change. Though things around me come to an end, and they come to ends. My spiritual self, the spiritual part of me, is that which stays. It continues. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. And this human journey called life, it's characterized by change. Things do end, and it touches us very deeply because we get to deal with it every day. Changes in relationship, changes in family, in jobs, in our bodies, and in our joys, and our celebrations, our losses, on and on and on. And spiritual living means remaining aware that at the same time that all of this change is going on, at the same time, while we are living our complicated lives, dealing with the ongoing changes of the world, there is something in us that remains untouched by all of it. Something in us that is peaceful and wise and kind, no matter what is going on around us. And we call that our spiritual nature, or we might say it is that part where humanity and divinity meet in us. So I guess then our work is to remember that, to remember what lives in us so that we can turn to it and call upon it so that it may come alive in us and live through us in this crazy, beautiful, frustrating, delightful world. This is a good Sunday to celebrate this, to celebrate the holiness of the life that lives in us, because it is Easter Sunday, a day set aside across the Christian world to honor and celebrate the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. Our own founder, Ernest Holmes, in his final Easter message, he talked about this great hope in us and this expectation that we have that we shall continue to live in whatever form is appropriate after this one. That whatever it is that makes us alive, awake, alert, creative shall continue after the grave. And in his last Easter message, he talked about that conversation between the disciples and Jesus, in which the disciples asked Jesus, "What is God's relationship to the dead?" And Jesus answered, saying, "God is not a God of the dead, but of the living." And our founder wrapped his whole Easter message around that idea. Because although he had confidence that we shall continue, he asked us at the same time to live the best life that we are capable of living right now. And not to let our focus on a future life rob us from living the best life we can live in this world. And he wrote in that final Easter message, and I like the words so well that I brought them with me. In other words, Jesus was saying God is life, and life cannot produce death. God is love, and love cannot create hate. God is peace and joy, and God is right where you are, not only in this world, but in the next world, which was as real to Jesus as this one is to us. So it is customary at Centers for Spiritual Living at Easter time to celebrate eternal life as something that we are living right now. So we celebrate life, love, peace, joy, as the qualities of the divine that have the power to renew us, to inspire us, to set us free when and if we turn to them and accept them into our hearts as the truth of who we are. That's when they can come to life in this world. In other words, our message is, don't wait for love to come in some future time. Don't wait to be freed one day. Don't hope for peace to come later, but let these qualities come to life in you now. Well, that's our message, and still people will ask me, but Edward, do we believe in the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth? Well, I don't know how to answer that for somebody else. I can only answer it for me, and you answer it for you. It's a matter of private faith. I mean, with sincere respect to my Hindu and Buddhist and Christian friends, I can say, for my part, when it comes to events from 2,000 years ago, I don't even know about what happened yesterday. I don't know. But I do know the power of story, of great stories, real or not, to inspire. I know that great stories have always had the power to inspire humanity to do greater things than what they did before. And I believe in that. Whatever inspires me to live a better life, whatever inspires me to be a better person, whatever inspires me to get up when I've fallen down, whatever inspires me to live again when some part of me feels like it died, I call that good and holy and worth celebrating. And whatever is coming in the next world, I know that I will be better off for having lived this life with those qualities in my mind now. Many things inspire me. I mean, I don't pretend to be able to make sense of what will inspire me and what won't. I was listening to some old music, because I couldn't get my iTunes to sync properly. That's a real world problem. So there I was sorting through all of my music, and I came across some Joni Mitchell, and I was listening to it, and it was a holy moment. What an artist. What a poet. It made me, just listening to it made me want to love better. It made me want to love life better. It made me want to look at it from both sides now. It's true. Or I was cycling through Sonoma County, and I thought, what a holy moment. Just all the yellow that is in bloom everywhere. But, also I saw the garbage on the sides of the roads, and I went, wow, I'm inspired. Can I be a better steward of this planet? And can I take in the beauty of this county more? So it was a change moment for me, And then I was reading about the father whose young daughter died unexpectedly, and she was an organ donor. And he cycled 1,500 miles to go and meet the man in whose body his daughter's heart was beating. And it's so beautiful, I brought the video along to show you. You got to love that. And I don't know anything about the man in that video, and I don't know about anything about any of the men in that video. I don't know anything about any of the people in the video, and somebody could ask me if I did you fact check it? I didn't. I don't need to. I don't need to. But I do know that I'm going to be a better human being as a result of seeing that. My Easter prayer of renewal may be, may Abby's heart bring my own heart back to life again. May I cherish life in this world and the next. May I share whatever I can to bring the fullness of life to other people. Does it matter if I know what actually happened? Stories of bravery and humanity will inspire me in the same way, like the story of Janusz Korczak, who during World War II, he had an orphanage for Jewish children, and he dedicated his whole life to their welfare. And then when the Nazis came to take away the children and take them to the infamous extermination camps, he refused to leave them, although he had the opportunity to. He was given the opportunity to, but he didn't take it. He stayed with them to the very end to soothe their fears and to let them know that they were loved by him. And there are different accounts of the facts of the story of what happened, but I don't let that distract me much. What matters to me is, can I be a better person in this life for knowing about his bravery? See, his kindness and his humanity, he created a beacon of light at a time of cruel darkness. Maybe my Easter prayer ought to be something like, may his courage bring my courage back to life again. May I never abandon a child in need. May I never choose my own safety or my own comfort at the expense of those who cannot speak for or defend themselves. See, I will take inspiration wherever I can find it. I will. And I most certainly find it in the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. So today, I find it in the Easter message. And its message is this to me, that when things end, it's not over. You got to love that. Not in this life and not in the next, whatever that may be. You got to love that. See, I'm the kind of person who needs a lot of inspiration. I need a lot of stimulation from many sources. It's very difficult for me to say, I'm only going to be inspired by my teaching, the science of mind. No other sources permitted. I can't do that. There's too much goodness out there. There's too much beauty out there. There's too much inspiration out there. I want it all of it. I was laughing. I was remembering when I was learning about Hinduism, and I'm not poking fun at anybody because it's my own story. I was reading about the difficulties that the early Christian missionaries had because they couldn't quite convert the Hindus. They couldn't get it right. Because the Hindus sincerely listened, respectfully, and they took it all in and believed it. To them, the Christian message made good sense. They liked it. Yes, one God in a heavenly realm, of course, who comes to earth as himself in the form of his own offspring. Yes, they said, of course. Who is betrayed and murdered and died. Yes. And then who comes back to life and then ascends back into the heavenly realm. Yes, they said, of course. To the Hindus, this was not unusual at all. Hinduism is filled up with that kind of thing, filled with stories that defy facts. And it is all deeply satisfying to Hindus because the stories inspire them to be better people, to respect family, to fulfill their duty, and to revere life. I want that. Maybe my Easter prayer is, may I respect family. May I fulfill my duties. May I revere life. Oh, the power of stories is in the inspiration. Unless, of course, I get into my head and I start picking the facts to pieces. I can do that. I can pick a thing to pieces until it doesn't work anymore. When we're focusing on what happened and what didn't happen. But if you've ever read the epic Hindu poem, the Ramayana, oh my word, the stories in it are fantastic. When I take people to Bali, I tell them the story of the Ramayana. Adult people sitting on the end of their chairs, they become 5 years old all over again. They want to know what is going to happen next. How will the hero in the story make sense of the injustice, the betrayal, the wrongdoing? And the story is filled up with flying machines and demons and champions and resurrection and ascension and holy men and women and children and saints and sinners and betrayal and reconciliation. And all of it, every word of it, to tell the exact same story that the Bible tells over and over again, whether it's through the book of Job or the Passover story or the story of the resurrection and the ascension. And I'm not talking about the history or the facts of what happened. I'm talking about the message, the eternal message that is woven through it all, the message that we want to hear over and over again to remind us. And it is this: that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in times of trouble. That God is the power at the center of our lives, that is the source of our love and our light and our peace and our strength. And even if we should fall into the darkest death-like sleep and forget our heritage, the love of God within us, remains alive, ready at any moment to help us take our place among the living again and to be joyous again. And even when I think all is lost, the presence of God within me, is not lost. It did not die, and it will not. It did not end, and it cannot. And my question for me this Easter is, will I remember to turn to that love? Will I let it come back to life in me? Our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote that for every death, there is a resurrection. That's the way of life. But he warned us that no person can become resurrected to love if they will not put down hate. See, he was talking about the Easter message again. He was talking about those life moments, like after the death of a dream, after a betrayal or a disappointment, after a period of hardship, after something ends in our life. He's talking about that moment that comes after, when we are called to have the courage and the faith to pick up the pieces and to emerge again and to start again. And he called that resurrection in this life. And the message he shared with us is this, that we cannot come out of the tomb of that ending exactly the same as the way we went into it. We will be changed. We'll have to leave behind whatever it was that held us back in the first place. Whether in this life or the next. Something must give way so that we can emerge. So I leave you with these Easter questions. They're questions I'm thinking of. Where in your life is it time for you to come back to the living? What might you need to put down that is holding you back from emerging? And most importantly, where will you turn for the inspiration to do that act of renewal? Whether it is Abby's heart or Janice Kerchek's courage, or the love that Jesus of Nazareth preached, wherever it is that you turn, may you let it come alive in you for the benefit of this world now, and also for whatever is waiting for us on the other side. So I invite you to breathe in with me, and to exhale, let your eyes close as we join in a moment of prayer. As we heard in the opening prayer, there is only one life, one presence, one divinity that connects us all, that is the love that creates the universe, that is our home and resting place, now and forevermore. We rest in this awareness that our lives, though they may appear to be individual and unique, are part of one beautiful holiness, and that we are forever at home in the heart of God. And so with this in mind, then, I speak with sincerity a blessing for all creation, and I let this blessing that I speak align my thinking into right thinking, so that wherever I look, I see the evidence and the opportunity to bring more love into the world, to share more goodness, to feel more kindness. And with this prayer, I am remembering that this world is filled up with messages and hints and ideas and suggestions for how to birth the love and the joy and the goodness of God. In this day and through this prayer, I have been made new. And together we say, and so it is. I invite you to breathe in deeply with me, followed by a sigh, as we let that breath, that movement in our body, make the transition from our prayer time into our offering time, while the choir comes back on the stage, because they're going to sing Psalm 23 to us, and that's going to be beautiful. At the same time, we will be receiving the offering. So I invite you to take your gift in your hand. And if you gave in another way, electronically, say, for example, I invite you to place your hand on your chest as a symbol of your gift and say after me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does amazing work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, won't you please receive the gift? Thank you.